In the world of health wisdom, understanding how our food choices affect our bodies at the cellular level can quite literally transform our lives. Amy's journey with Dr. William Li's revolutionary approach to longevity through telomere-protecting foods has become nothing but inspirational for thousands seeking to extend their health span. If you're fascinated by how simple dietary changes can dramatically impact your cellular health, you'll want to hear Amy's remarkable story and how she applied Dr. Li's 5 food hacks. Before we dive in, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment sharing your own health journey, subscribe to our channel for more life-changing health content, and share this with someone who could benefit from these insights. Together, we're building a community dedicated to better health through natural approaches. At 84 years old, Amy Parker defies conventional expectations of aging. With bright eyes, steady hands, and energy that would impress people decades younger, she attributes her vitality to discovering Dr. William Li's nutritional approach 5 years ago when her health had begun to decline. "I was 79 and feeling every minute of it," Amy often says when recounting her transformation. After a lifetime working as a school librarian in Portland, Amy had looked forward to an active retirement filled with gardening, travel, and time with her grandchildren. Instead, she found herself struggling with chronic inflammation, decreasing mobility, and the foggy thinking that many assume is simply part of growing older. Everything changed when Amy's daughter gifted her a book by Dr. William Li, a world-renowned physician, scientist, and author who has dedicated his career to studying how food affects our body's health defense systems. Dr. Li, educated at Harvard Medical School and with faculty positions at prestigious institutions, pioneered research into how specific foods can activate our body's health defense systems, including those that protect our telomeres. For those unfamiliar, telomeres are the protective caps at the end of your chromosomes, similar to the plastic tips on shoelaces. Each time your cells divide, these telomeres naturally shorten, and when they become too short, cells can no longer divide properly, a process directly linked to aging and age-related diseases. What captivated Amy about Dr. Li's approach was how accessible it made complex health science. Unlike restrictive diet plans she had tried and abandoned over the years, his recommendations centered around adding delicious, functional foods to your plate, rather than focusing primarily on elimination. "It never felt like medicine," Amy explains. "These foods became a joy to incorporate into my meals." The most fascinating aspect for Amy was learning how certain foods could actually help protect and potentially lengthen her telomeres, essentially slowing the biological clock at the cellular level. Amy began slowly, introducing what she now playfully calls the 5 food hacks that Dr. Li recommends for telomere protection. The first food hack she embraced was incorporating more colorful berries into her daily routine. Blueberries, blackberries, and strawberries became staples in her breakfast, providing powerful anthocyanins that combat oxidative stress, one of the primary factors in telomere shortening. Research suggests these compounds help reduce inflammation and protect DNA from damage. Amy started with a simple half-cup of mixed berries each morning, eventually expanding her repertoire to include less common varieties like elderberries and aronia berries when in season. The second food hack focused on cruciferous vegetables, particularly broccoli sprouts, which contain sulforaphane, a compound Dr. Li highlights for its remarkable ability to activate protective enzymes in our cells. Amy found that adding just a quarter cup of these sprouts to her sandwiches or salads 3 times weekly made a noticeable difference in her energy levels within just months. "People always ask what moisturizer I use for my skin," Amy laughs, "but the real secret is on my plate, not in my bathroom cabinet." The sulforaphane in these vegetables helps protect your cells from environmental damage that can accelerate telomere shortening. Omega-3s became the third pillar of Amy's telomere protective strategy. Following Dr. Li's guidance, She incorporated fatty fish, like salmon and sardines, twice weekly, along with walnuts and flax seeds sprinkled into her meals. These essential fatty acids help reduce chronic inflammation that can drive premature cellular aging. Within 6 months of making these changes, Amy noticed her joint pain had diminished significantly, allowing her to return to gardening, her lifelong passion that had become increasingly difficult in recent years. The fourth food hack involved embracing mushrooms, particularly varieties like shiitake, maitake, and oyster mushrooms that Dr. Lee specifically recommends for their immune-supporting properties. I had never cooked with anything beyond button mushrooms before this, Amy admits. She started by sautéing mushrooms as a side dish twice weekly, eventually learning to incorporate them into soups, stir-fries, and even breakfast omelets. These fungi contain unique compounds that support immune function and provide specific nutrients that may help maintain telomere length through their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. Perhaps the most enjoyable food hack for Amy was the fifth one, dark chocolate. Dr. Lee explains that high-quality dark chocolate, containing at least 70% cacao, provides flavonols that support cardiovascular health and may help protect telomeres from shortening. Amy adopted the habit of enjoying a small square of dark chocolate each evening, a simple pleasure that delivered powerful polyphenols to her cells. It feels almost rebellious to have something so delicious be so good for you, she says with a characteristic twinkle in her eye. What makes Dr. Lee's approach particularly effective is how these foods work synergistically, creating what he calls a multiplier effect, where the benefits compound when consumed as part of a varied diet. Amy embraced this philosophy wholeheartedly, creating meals that combine several telomere-protecting foods in delicious combinations. Her granddaughter, a culinary student, helped her develop simple recipes that made incorporating these foods effortless rather than a chore. Beyond these 5 core food hacks, Amy also adopted other recommendations from Dr. Lee's research, including herbs and spices with potent anti-inflammatory properties. Turmeric, with its active compound curcumin, became a regular addition to her cooking, as did cinnamon, which helps regulate blood sugar, another factor in cellular aging. She began drinking green tea daily, rich in catechins that some studies suggest may help maintain telomere length. And she rediscovered the simple pleasure of cooking with garlic and onions, allium vegetables that Dr. Lee highlights for their cardiovascular benefits. The transformation did not happen overnight. Amy is quick to emphasize this point when talking with friends curious about her vitality. This is not a miracle cure or a quick fix, she explains. It is about consistent, small changes that add up over time. During the first few months, she simply focused on adding berries to her breakfast and having fatty fish twice weekly. As these habits became second nature, she gradually incorporated the other elements. By the end of her first year following Dr. Lee's recommendations, all 5 food hacks had become seamlessly integrated into her daily life. What surprised Amy most was not just the physical benefits, improved mobility, better digestion, more energy, but the cognitive clarity that returned. There was a fogginess I had attributed to normal aging, she reflects. But now I realize much of it stemmed from inflammation that these foods have helped address. She resumed the crossword puzzles she had abandoned years earlier when they became too challenging, and even joined a local book club, finding her comprehension and recall significantly improved. 3 years into her new lifestyle, Amy visited her longtime physician, who was astonished by her improved health markers. Her inflammatory indicators had dropped significantly, her blood pressure had normalized without medication, and her overall blood work reflected someone seemingly years younger than her chronological age. While her doctor could not directly measure her telomere length, a test still primarily used in research settings rather than clinical practice, he acknowledged that something remarkable was happening at the cellular level, based on her objective health improvements. Perhaps most meaningful to Amy has been regaining her independence and joy in daily activities. She now tends a substantial vegetable garden, growing many of the foods Dr. Lee recommends. She travels independently to visit her grandchildren across the country, trips she had once thought impossible due to fatigue and mobility issues. She even began volunteering at a community garden, teaching children about growing nutritious foods, creating a beautiful full-circle moment in her journey. Amy's experience reflects what Dr. Lee emphasizes about food as medicine, that the right dietary choices can activate your body's health defense systems, including those that protect your telomeres. While genetics certainly play a role in how we age, mounting evidence suggests that lifestyle factors, particularly nutrition, can significantly influence how our genes express themselves through a process called epigenetics. Amy's journey demonstrates this principle in action, how intentional food choices potentially helped lengthen her telomeres, or at minimum, slow their shortening, supporting her remarkable vitality in her 9th decade of life. If you find yourself inspired by Amy's story, consider how you might incorporate these 5 food hacks into your own routine. Could you add a handful of berries to your breakfast tomorrow? Perhaps swap out a less nutritious snack for a small piece of dark chocolate? Each small step builds toward potential cellular renewal. Remember that this approach focuses on addition rather than deprivation, celebrating delicious foods that happen to support your longevity rather than focusing on restrictions. This positive framing helped Amy maintain her new habits where previous attempts at health improvement had failed. Your journey toward telomere health and cellular vitality can begin today with just one small change. Perhaps it is fitting that Amy, who spent her career surrounding herself with stories as a librarian, has now become the protagonist in her own remarkable health narrative, one that continues to unfold with vibrancy and purpose. We would love to hear which of the 5 food hacks you plan to try first, or what changes you have already experienced from incorporating these foods into your diet. Please share your thoughts in the comments below, like this video if you found value in Amy's story, and subscribe to join our community of health-conscious individuals seeking natural paths to longevity. By sharing this video, you might help someone else begin their own journey towards cellular renewal and vibrant aging. Together, we can create a community dedicated to applying this life-changing wisdom in our daily lives.